So he's standing behind like where the restrooms are.
Yeah.
And he's got two tall boys, and he's looking at me, and he's like, "Hi," and I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And he kept whispering. He's like, "You remind me, and I was like, "What?" And I got closer, and he kept getting closer, and "You remind me," and I was like, "I can't hear you, brother," and he like put his like lips right at my ear, and he goes, "You remind me of Dorian." And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? You're whispering 10 feet away from me, but you get right up to my fucking ear.
And that's when you decide to talk normal?
Like, Dorian. He's like, George Michaels? I'm like, which one is it? Duran Duran or George Michael? George Michaels. I was like, this fucking dude. But yeah, it's always weird. So the last time, that was years ago, but and I'm dressed like a decomposing pirate,
Yeah.
And he's saying I reminded him of Duran Duran and George Michael.
Interesting.
And I was like, I love both of those guys. I love both of those bands, whatever. But yeah, I was like, I'm going to babysit this drink because I know we put something in it. Because it was already open. It's kind of weird because they don't open the situations. But I think he was a little spectrum, but because we all are.
Yeah.
Whoa, welcome, guys.
Yeah.
We are Revival of Horror Podcast. How are you, Creepy Connie?
I'm doing all right.
Do I sound all right?
You sound like you're definitely a little congested.
Maybe
like a wee bit
Just a
sick.
little, yeah. I love this time of the year because it's cooling down, cooling off. But in the mornings, like it's like a seasonal allergy. Like it just gets so stuffy, and I feel great. I'm a little tired, but I feel great. Hopefully, you feel great.
I feel great.
Yeah.
I mean, I was sick like last week.
Yeah.
And I slept for like an entire day.
That's amazing.
But now I'm fine.
But you're good.
But crazy, in my studio class, so the people I've been in architecture school with since freshman year, so I've known them for like 4 years
Forever.
now. One of them has mono.
Jeez.
The other one just tested positive for COVID, and then 3 others are sick.
Jeez.
And I was like, what is happening?
Yes.
Why are we all going away?
Well, I know the last episode we started talking about COVID and it just kept coming up.
Yeah.
And then the one part I'm sitting at the listening, taking Lotus to school, and I'm listening, and I'm at a stoplight, and it's when I was like, yeah, it's, one person can change everything, like the guy who ate the bat. And I just started laughing, and I look around, people are like, what? It's 7:45 in the morning. What's so funny? And I was like, it's me. I'm funny.
I'm funny.
Creepy Connie's funny. But yeah, COVID is rampant. Everyone's ill.
Yeah.
So your friend has mono?
Yeah. Don't know where he got it.
They call that the kissing disease.
Yep. And,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything more about that. You can just assume what you want to assume.
Yeah. Well, I have a crazy story for you. When I lived in San Diego, I was heavily into the rave scene.
Yeah.
I found electronic music when I was out there, and I loved it. So Wednesday night we partied. Friday, Saturday night we partied. Sunday, all day we partied. Monday we slept. Tuesday we got ready for Wednesday night, and it was just always something. And I remember in Ocean Beach, there was this little shorefront, like, party house that we would go to.
Yeah.
And I was into the music. I wasn't into the drugs, but I mean, that was the mid to late 90s. So that was.
So there was definitely
there was
drugs
definitely
present.
Drugs. And I said, and I still say it, I was like, I couldn't party in 69, but I definitely made up for it in 96.
Ooh.
So right around the time Interview with a Vampire came out, I was obsessed with vampires. And we talked about vampires last week. And there was this girl that I fancied. I mean, she had purple hair. She was as white as silk, and she had her teeth like kind of chiseled, and she was the goth girl, and everyone knew her, and she was super, super cool, and she sold LSD, and
yeah,
I was so like madly in love with this girl, and she knew it too, and she was like madly in love with her hairstylist who was gay. So it was kind of like, so I was like, I'm going to be a hairstylist and I'm going to show you. But I was madly in love with this girl. Her last name was Mafia. I can't remember her first name.
Mafia.
Her last name was Mafia. I think it was Jennifer or Jessica Mafia. But anyway, she was a vampire. And one night, I guess she thought it was my birthday. She was like, let's go make out on the beach. So we made out and she bit my neck, drew blood, and I got sick. I got ill. So my creative mind thought, I'm a vampire, yeah!
No.
Doctors couldn't tell what it was. The doctors, I was sick for like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
That's
I
crazy.
couldn't hold anything down. I was turning into a vampire. And then finally
You were being
I went
reborn.
to... I'm being reborn, it did. And finally a doctor, like on a medical doctor. He's
medical
like,
doctor?
You have mono. Like, don't go to the free clinic. They don't know. They can't test you for that. You have mono. And I was like, no.
That's like the
kissing
worst.
disease.
And it stays with you for so long.
I
Like,
know.
he's been sick for 2.5, almost 3 weeks now.
Is he a senior?
Yeah.
Okay, so it
yeah.
took him 4 years to get his first kiss.
Well, he was
Sorry,
in a
Jeff.
relationship
We
from
apologize, Jeff.
freshman to junior year,
Okay.
end of junior year. So like he had just started like seeing other people.
Other people? Oh, wow. I guess
And then he got mono.
he got mono. Mono. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh my
Crazy.
god.
Well, I know that there has been a lot of crazy things happening. I've been pulled aside at all of the places that I work. I've been pulled aside in grocery stores. I've been pulled aside, like people who listen or who know. They're like, I have to tell you this ghost story. I have to tell you
that's
this thing that
awesome.
happened. I have to tell you something that happened here. I don't know if we talked about the restaurant with the torches. Did we talk about the
I
torches?
don't recall
you don't know
torches.
the torches.
I
Ooh.
don't recall torches.
All right. Well, the restaurant has an outdoor area with open roof that can be closed, and it's glassed in. And when they have big parties to keep like the mosquitoes and the bugs and whatnot, they have these big flame torches that are really cool. They're like black lanterns, and the torches are about 6 inches tall.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so they went out to kind of set up, and the wind was kind of blowing, let's say, east. And one of the torches was standing straight tall, 6 inches, and the other one was blowing to the left against the wind.
Oh.
So it's like, that's impossible because both, if the wind is blowing, both of
They
them
would-
are going
yeah.
to capture each other and they're going to be turned
They
in the
should be.
direction
Yeah.
of the wind.
They should be blowing in the same
in the
direction.
same direction,
if the
but
wind is
one straight up.
and one's
The one
bending.
closest to, the wall is bending to the right. So it doesn't make sense. So then
Yeah, that's
people
weird.
came out and they were like showing, the bartenders were coming out and they were taking pictures and stuff. When the bartenders went back behind the bar, they're sharing it with the people at the bar. All of a sudden, the bar lights underneath the bar, boom, go out. The bar lights where the liquor shelf is start flickering. They're both on
Ooh.
2 different mediums. So
Yeah.
they're not connected to the same outlet or the same energy source. Yeah, but they're not connected. So for the bar light to go out, period, and then the light at the liquor
the
light
upper ones
to
flicker.
yeah, it's wild. So
That's weird.
They were like, whoa, that was crazy. So when they said, hey, let's go back and look, this time the left
Oh, the
is
flame
going
switch.
to the right, and the right one is
One's
sticking
sticking
straight
straight
up.
up.
So there had to be something. So they're like, call Jeremy and get him here. And it's like,
Call
I wouldn't have
Jeremy.
been able to.
We need the ghost expert, please.
Ghost bust. But it was really cool because I was like, hey, let me take my bag off my shoulders before you.
Yeah, they like
just
are all like
swarmed
rushing you.
in. It was pretty
They're
cool.
like, help,
It was
help.
pretty cool. Yeah, I love all that. So yeah, there's been so many things, and like I said, at the grocery store, someone pulled me aside to like listen to the podcast, and they
Oh,
love
that's
it.
awesome.
They gave it big ups.
That's
And
awesome.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And I know.
Oh, I think when we were out on Sunday night, our friend Kitty introduced me to someone, and they went, "Oh, the ghost girl." I was like,
nice.
I am the
love
ghost
it.
girl.
I love it.
That's me.
I love it. The creepy one.
That's me.
That's so cool. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It made me so happy.
That is so cool. Yeah, I hate I missed it. Because I love Kitty. She's a sweetheart. and I
No,
know
she's just genuinely a good person. You
very
can tell.
much so. Very
Yeah.
much so. So like, when I was leaving, she was sitting in her car and she was waving like she does, and I was waving with my hands full, and she knew that I wouldn't be able to. Because Lotus wasn't feeling well, and I mean I can literally walk there, and I was thinking about doing it, but it's fine. But shout out, happy birthday, Kitty! We love you.
Yes, we love you, Kitty.
Meow. Well, now I think it's time to dive into the world of horror. Ooh, the ghost girl. So,
Yes.
Beetlejuice. So good, so good.
Oh my my God.
So good. We got these.
Ooh, cups. Ooh, cups.
So
and then the handbook for the recently
diseased.
The recently deceased. That's what you and Lotus are, the recently diseased.
Sound like it. But this is where you put your popcorn. So they have all these creative things at the movie theaters now, like everything from like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle animation to Beetlejuice to...
I watched the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies growing up.
The live action one?
Yeah, like
the
original.
Feldman is one of the... I think he's Michelangelo.
Really?
Yeah. I think they're voice acted by different people. But yeah, they'll have these guys are the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Like, they wore the outfits, and it's like, that's not him. You just pick some rando. I'm not going to give you $20 because you're not Leonardo DiCaprio. Raphael. So yeah, the little cup, the little cup has
with the
little top. Well, I had to glue it on because she kept losing it, and I found it in the parking lot, and then I found it underneath my seat, and then I was like, you had a choice of like the sandworm, the guy with the shrunken head, I think the tombstone, and maybe Beetlejuice's hair or something. But yeah, I thought that was cool.
I would want the guy with the shrunken head. He's my favorite. He's one of my favorites.
Bob.
Yes,
Bob. Yeah. The movie was stellar. It was so good. The only thing that, and I'm not that guy, but the only thing is they heavily wrote in the dad, Mr. Dietz, which he is a known sexual predator, and they wrote him in. He's in like, it's kind of like almost the pseudo focus of the story.
Oh, ooh.
So it was kind of weird that,
we should just
hey, he died.
Quickly mention that he's like passed somehow.
He died.
And then move on because why do we need to?
That was the only thing, but I definitely give it 2 claps because it's Beetlejuice. That's 3 claps. Beetlejuice in theaters now. Go see it if you dare. And we saw Afraid.
Ooh. Okay,
now, we talked with Al, our new friend, who I haven't reached back out, but I know if I do, I'm going to be like, you tricked me. And he's like, I didn't trick you. It says AI, not AL. Mm-hmm. But I know I had that one story of the AI who reached out to us and really wanted to give us positive feedback, and it was almost too good to be true. And of course, it was still positive feedback.
Hey, you know what? If it's AI positive feedback, at least we know we won't go down during the apocalypse.
That's true.
When the AI takeover happens, we'll be okay because of AI Al.
Owie.
You're doing great. Well, You're doing great.
But yeah, Afraid, directed by Chris Weitz. Aya is the new AI. A family gets a chance to test this revolutionary device, taking smart homes to the next level. As Aya learns the family's patterns and behaviors, it then makes sure nothing gets in the way of the family. And it's creepy. It's haunting.
And it's our future.
And the actual device is really cool. It comes in this kind of trophy-esque like box. And when it's taken out, it just looks so cool. But yeah, it was a great film. A few people emailed to dive in. We talked about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game, and we also talked about a new game that's coming out by Behavior Interactive. But they wanted us to dive into Dead by Daylight. So Dead by Daylight.
Ooh.
So Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is an online survival game by Behavior Interactive.
Snort number 1.
Number 2. You can be a survivor. You must escape the killing ground, as they call it, without being caught. As the environment changes at every level, it makes it more difficult to escape. You and 4 characters have to start 5 generators to open a gate to be free or to flee. You have 1 killer. The 1 killer you play as a slasher or a paranormal entity. You must capture and impale each survivor on the sacrificial hooks to appease a malevolent force known as the entity. So you are the killer. You're trying to get 5 kids on these sacrificial hooks.
Wait, but can you play as like the kids?
Yeah, you play as the kids as well. You could do. It's easy to play as the killer.
So it would be like a group.
Yes. So it's online. And you're playing against unknowns.
I don't know a lot about video games, to be so honest.
The reason I brought this one up is because they'll have like a $20 skin.
Yeah.
And I've always thought it's so crazy to spend $20 on like a jumpsuit for your character. But here, Chucky is the new killer. So you can be Chucky.
Oh, I want to be a little doll. I want to be the little red
The little
doll.
guy. Just
waddle and run.
So yeah. And talking shit. Just the dad jokes left and right. But throughout the years, it's free to play. But if you want to be, like I said, the couple episodes ago about you could be Nick Cage. There are survivors from Stranger Things, and then you can be the Demogorgon. You could be the nurse from a particular horror movie back in the day. Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, the pig from Saw, the clown, the spirit, the Legion, the Legion, the plague. Texas Chainsaw had something. The cannibal from Texas Chainsaw, the hag from Witch, and the xenomorph from Alien. So you can be all these characters,
That's crazy.
And it's really cool because you have to capture these characters, put them on hooks. They can free themselves or be freed by another character, but all the generators have to be started by each character to open the gates. So it's a really cool game. On VR, there's a new game called Torn. It's a dark sci-fi exploration of an abandoned mansion. Dr. Lawrence Talbot, an eccentric scientist, has been missing for 64 years. You use a gravity tool that he created to activate these mysterious boxes, gadgets, and machines. And maybe you teleport into a strange dimension known as the parallel. Huh. So, lastly, there is an author. He is going to be a household name if he hasn't already. His name is Grady Hendrix. He wrote the book How to Sell a Haunted House.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool. And I have a feeling when they have like a little shrine situation at Target, it's usually Taylor Swift in this big 3D box situation.
I keep getting TikToks of people like covering up like the Taylor Swift albums with other albums, like better music. And I'm like, this is so funny.
Like Weezer or Green Day.
Weezer.
So Grady Hendrix has a new book coming out 2 weeks from now. It's called Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. These girls who grew up too fast are sent to the Wellwood House in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families to have their babies in secret, give them up for adoption, and most important, forget it ever happened. 15-year-old Fern arrives at the home in 1970, already hooked. The pregnant and terrified and alone girl is now under the watchful eye of Miss Wellwood. She meets a dozen other girls in her same predicament, not my words. So everything the girls eat, speak, and do are under strict controls of the adults who claim they know best for the girls. Fern then meets a librarian who gives her a book on the occult and witchcraft, and now the power is in the hands of the wayward girls. So this whole scenario, I copied and pasted, and it said, girls who grow up too fast, the wayward souls, and it was like, I don't know if I'm gonna put that in there, but it makes kind of not my words, but that is believe
What's
the
happening in the world
world
of horror.
So now we're in the kitchen. Ed picks up a TV camera the size of a suitcase. And again, that little quirky Edward. He's like, wow, it's so small and light. And it's just this huge suitcase.
Big.
And in the kitchen, Ed is working on a broken sink with Janet by his side. And she says, why do you do this? Help people like us. Ed says, when you were little, did you ever worry there might be something hiding under your bed? Well, she's got something hiding under her bed, right? I never did get that. Like, there's a soul. Her bed shakes.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck the Ouija board.
Literally.
Ed says, well, my bed, there actually was something under it. Yep. Something grabbed my hand and yanked me down to the floor. It was too dark to see, but I ran out so fast. You know what my dad did? He dragged me right back in the room and told me to face my fears, and I was scared to death. And then I remember, with this nun telling me in a catechism, God will be there for all who need help. So I grab this crucifix out of my nightstand and I tell whatever's under there is better leave or God will kick its butt. Best thing my dad ever did for me. He didn't believe me, of course, and it took years to find someone who did. And you know what I did then? Janet says, she married you. Ed bringing his head out from under the broken sink. So you've heard this before. So I'm wondering, did they make both of these stories up just to kind of, or do you think they're true? Because I said that.
I honestly...
Angel, dying boy, monster under the bed.
I feel like it would be true. Because that's how they met. They both were the first people to believe each other in their ghost stories.
True.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like it would be true.
I believe it. But again,
that could just be me wanting to believe it.
True. And it's cool because they both have, they have the stories from before. And
yeah.
So with the sink fixed, Ed asks if it's time to fix the wash. And Peg immediately, no, it's a disaster down there. Now in the basement, the H2O is up to his kneecaps, and Ed is now standing staring at the basement swimming hole and says, oh, bloody hell. Bloody hell.
And it's flooded in there.
It's flooded.
It is.
And it's
like
flooded.
like a good chunk of the stairs.
Yes, it is. Like it's not even recognizable.
Yeah.
The soddy house. So now in the exterior, Mr. Gross is out with Lorraine. Mr. Gross says, everything's still quiet in there. Lorraine says, yes, thank goodness. Gross, it would be something, wouldn't it, to... I don't even have to do the voice.
You already sound like that.
I already sound like that. Thanks. I'm gross.
It's not what I meant.
Just don't spit in my mouth. It would be something, wouldn't it, to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is life beyond this? He sighs. It would be historic. Lorraine says, is that why you're doing this? To be a part of something historic? This isn't a laboratory. This is someone's house. And I think helping that family is the only thing that matters. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. My daughter died in a car crash several years ago. Afterwards, I started experiencing things. I think she wants to communicate with me. And yes, it would help if she was, I don't know, somewhere. And that heartache, that like surreal heartache that you can feel just in his face. And then he lights his pipe.
And he's like, all right, time to smoke.
Like, time to smoke.
Forget about that.
Everybody died of cancer. So interior-wise, we are now with Ed. He's working on the wash and realizes the pipes aren't the problem. Thinking he has found the problem, he walks into the water up to his knees, and as he finds the main valve, he's distracted by the kids running upstairs. He goes back to the valve, starts to turn it off, and behind him, an entity rises from its grave. It's Bill. Bill Wilkins rising from his watery grave. Mum sees something coming towards Ed and loses focus on keeping the flashlight lit on him. She enters the watery floorboard. Ed, there's something behind you. He turns, nothing. You pan back to Peg. She looks down in the water. Boom, there's Bill. He smiles, then grabs her hand and pulls her under. As she emerges from the water, he grabbed me. He tried to pull me under. Oh my God, Luke. And then Ed says it's a scratch. Peg says, no, it's a bite mark, just like Janet. Ed reaches down in the water and he fumbles around as if he's searching for something. And he finds it. He pulls it up and it's dentures. And it's 2 front teeth.
Oh, God.
Sizing it up to a match, the 2 front teeth are missing in the bite. It's the dentures of Bill Wilkins.
I don't like that.
It's disgusting.
It's gross.
It's gross. Maurice Gross. I got the voice back. I know it now.
Perfect.
Should we start over? Let's just start. Welcome. We're Silent night, holy night. I don't know the words. I should know the words. More fucking Christmas music.
Yep.
More hymns.
More Catholic Christmas music.
More Catholic Christmas.
Everything
school.
I sang in children's choir growing up.
Choir. And that is the coolest song not played by Elvis. They're hanging stockings by the fireplace. The children are hanging stockings by the fireplace. We are now placing ornaments on the Christmas tree. Janet grabs an ornament and notices something in the hallway. Her face goes blank. We hear scratching as Janet gasps for air. And Margaret now notices, Janet, what's wrong? Don't you see it? See what? In the kitchen. Tell me what you see, Janet. It's playing with the knives, hiding in the dark. Now, Johnny Big Boy, he hadn't had a flipping roll. He hasn't had a sentence to say. He hasn't had a verse or a verb to speak. The only kid that no one really knows anything about, because he's not. But Billy, Johnny comes to the rescue. And I put the one with no lines, he walks towards the kitchen.
The one with no lines.
Johnny, what are you doing? Johnny turns around. Remember what Mr. Warren said? We can't let it bully us. This is our house. Now, stabbed into the kitchen table, Johnny sees 7 butcher knives.
Oy.
With the blue lit hue so good, Johnny picks one of the knives up that's stabbed into the table. Boom! Janet screams. The other 2 scream. Now Janet is gone. Johnny turns and Janet is perched with the knife like a cat by his side, staring a fierce look like a predator at Johnny's corner. The kids scream. Ed and Peg are now heading up from the basement. When they enter, furniture is thrown by their heads and a door closes on them, locking them out. Gross and Lorraine join as furniture is being thrown and smashed before all 4 adults enter the room where Johnny is. The door slams, locking them out. Banging, kicking, and screaming, Ed gets the door open. The kitchen's destroyed. Kitchen's destroyed. I mean, these people don't have anything. They don't have any bloody money for biscuits. Now they don't have any bloody money for furniture.
Yeah.
Where are they? Where are they? Johnny wailing. He's in the cupboard. Unable to find Janet, a paranormal researcher grabs the headset, EMF, to find Terry. He puts the headset on. He's got the long mic. And then he hears something. Janet, where's Janet? Mom says. The paranormal guy opens the door to find the front door ajar. Bill growls. The paranormal guy says, I've got a reading, and it's in the electrical box. Ed opens to find a pretzel Janet, blue, protruding veins on her face, and all growling like a rabid animal. Ed takes the crucifix and points it at Janet. That scene was sick.
Yeah.
Like, she's just in the electrical box. Oh, I mean,
like,
a cat can't even...
She is pretzeled in. You said that perfectly. Pretzeled.
Janet, with Bill's voice, me won't. Janet's face is fucked, I wrote. I mean, she just doesn't look like her.
Yeah.
It's just the makeup is so good. Destroyed. Like, when we see them, with the backs turned in the living room where Ed has the crucifix and you see Janet turn into Bill and then Bill turn into Janet. This has the same thing, but it's not blurred out. It's just so spooky. And Peg's like, Mom's here. It's all right. Mom's here. Gross. How did she get in there? The size of a cat would struggle getting into this box. I mean, it's
I don't know how.
You just see, her arms are all crook. The other arms kind of, ass backwards, whatever that means. And then Ed closes the cabinet. Now Mom is with Janet. Cold rag on her head. Margaret is with Johnny. And then Nymphadora Tonks. She said it again. She's faking it. I have proof. So this part is not my favorite part, but we now see a reel of Janet throwing things. And Peg's like, what? I've seen things. Nymphadora Tonks. She was caught red-handed faking an event. Peg, a 12-year-old girl throws a table across the room. Yep. It's over. For the sake of your daughter, don't make this any harder. Janet's sobbing. She couldn't have pulled this off alone. Basically telling Peg that, she put her up to this. She put her own daughter up to this. How dare you? You think I put her up to this? What about the police? looking at the Warrens. What about you two? You
Yeah.
believe us, don't you? Ed's like, we want to help. The church will take one look at this video, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah. She it just doesn't look good.
It doesn't
'cause
look good.
She really is. It looks like she's just throwing the furniture around. She's like,
throwing the furniture.
She's like, let me make it look like
The
demon
demons
did it.
So
and
still,
blah, blah, blah.
like, you know, the bite mark from before down in the basement just a little while ago could have been self-inflicted. She could have put the dentures down there. You know, I'm starting to believe to not believe, you know?
Yeah.
And I've seen this movie so many times, but dissecting it like this,
It's like-
it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
So, the church will distance themselves from anything that resembles a hoax. Janet's dying, just crying. Mum says, "Oh, okay. I'd like you to leave, please. Go on. Get out. Get out.
Time for you to go.
The lot of you. Get out." I like that. The lot. The lot of you. Janet's crying heavily. Gross. "Maybe you could reach out to the spirit." Lorraine says, "I can't. I've tried. I sense nothing here." Mr. Nottingham, the neighbor, "You hold out a lifeline to them and then you just throw it away." Ed, "We don't like this any more than you do. We will talk to the church and tell them what we've seen. But the only concrete evidence we have is Janet faking an incident. It's over."
Yeah.
"You've done good work here, Maurice." He calls him Morris. "You've done good work here, Maurice." "Thank you. But sometimes maybe a leap of faith when nobody else will." And then the song, "I Started a Joke." I started a joke. I thought it was David Bowie. But no, it's the Bee Gees. It's the fucking Bee Gees. You know what Bee Gees stands for?
No.
Bee Gees. They were a handsome lot. Do you like the Bee Gees? Do you know
I
the Bee
did
Gees?
not. No, I did not listen to them a lot.
But I find out how when I'm standing here, when I'm right there, it's on a mission. Can't do it if I'm sick.
You sounded just fine.
Thank you. I'm going toe. In a car heading towards the train station, Lorraine looks at Ed and says, "This doesn't feel right." Ed says, "I know." Now we're back at the Hutchinson's house, and Janet is staring at the tree. Mm-hmm. Her siblings sit with her on the sofa. It's raining heavily, like it always does in North London. Mum says, "Did you really do it? Wreck the kitchen and all?" Janet turns. No, Margaret says that. Sorry. "Did you really do it? Wreck the kitchen and all?" Janet turns, and Billy, But why?" Janet says, "It said it would kill you if I didn't make them leave." Now on a train. This is a cool part. It's convenient she was faking an incident where the only camera was facing. Ed's like, "Yeah." As he places the luggage in the upper stall, tapes fall out. They fall from the suitcase, and they fall into the shape of an X.
Okay.
Epiphany. Ed says, "Lorraine, help me set up these tape recorders. Set them up so we can listen." So as they set them up, they start listening. Remember the strange garbled mess we got from Janet as Bill? Lorraine says, "Yes." Well, there were two of them. Here's the first one. "Help it let go. Help it let go." We thought it was referring to himself, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Listen to the second one. Me won't. He rewinds both tapes. And if I'm right about this, he says, pushes play. "Help me. It won't let me go. Help me. It won't let me go." Lorena's knocked backwards in her train seat. Hard as fuck. Walking into Bill's living room, your POV Lorraine as she approaches the chair. While he gasps for oxygen through his mask, Bill looks up in a lively state, not how he's looked. Bill looks left and Bill looks right. "Bill, I've come here to see my family, but they're not here now. I think I'd like to go now, but I can't." Lorraine, "Why not?" "It wants her so badly. It almost has her." "Tell me how to stop it. I'm giving and I'm taking. I was there at your first breath. You didn't ask for me, but I'll follow you till death. Lorraine says, wait, I don't understand, please. Bill in the chair suddenly has a huge green hand on his shoulder. Right hand shoulder pans back, and it's phallic, and her teeth are sharp and huge. Lorraine wakes up on the train with a bloody nose. Ed says, wait, you're bleeding. What's happening? Lorraine says, the old man's spirit is just a pawn. He's been enslaved to weaken Janet's spirit. Enslaved by who? Lorraine, something inhuman. Something that has a blasphemous form to attack my faith. There is a demonic presence in that house. Grab Vic. We need to go back.
Holy shit.
Back. So good. So good. Back in infield, Mom is sweeping and crying. Boom! Glass shatters. The girls scream. Margaret is now hovering above the sofa. Mom, help me, please. Janet is hovering, laughing. For God's sake, leave us alone. Margaret is yeeting towards the wall. I couldn't spell yeet.
Why?
Yeet, skirt, yeet, skirt.
No.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Yeet. There's lots of yeeting.
E-E-E-T.
There's a lot. No, I couldn't spell like thrown it or something like that.
Thrown.
Forced it. So I said, if I get yeet, I said, what she was yeet.
She was
yeeted. She was yeeted. Crash. Janet is in full Michael Jackson Thriller mode. I don't know why I said that.
But you know what? You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. Her hands at her waist, open if she's carrying a log. Her eyes are yellow like an animal. Thriller mode. Mm-hmm. Everyone races outside as Janet peers at them leaving. Lightning strike. Peg. Go to Peggy's house. I can't leave Janet. Front door slams shut. Janet! Bang, 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 bang on the front door. A car races towards infield. Banter of what was just now happening is now happening. The spirit blocking Lorraine's perception. Ed, the old man, the crooked man, they're all facades trying to keep us from seeing the real evil in that house. Lorraine, the old man spoke in riddle. I was there at your first birth. I was there at your first breath. You didn't ask for me, but I'll follow you till your death. We realize if we know the demon's name, we can cast it out. Ed says, the inhuman spirit that clouds Lorraine's vision, I'm no match for. We need to get Janet to a church before it kills her. Mom, I thank God you're here. As they pound on the door, nothing. So Ed finds a brick and chucks it and gets in. As he's intruding, the big red sofa tilts up and closes the entire entrance, knocking him backwards in the grass. Lorraine, Ed, are you okay? Ed says yes. Ed and Lorraine head out back as the Knots put the family in a car. They did that again. They put, that's not the safest place. But
No.
they did that in the first Conjuring. They're like,
Yeah.
Put
them in the car.
Put them in the car. Just get in the car.
Just get the
car.
fuck out of here.
Sit in the car. Don't have the car keys. Roll the window up. And when the birds come and start bashing through your skull, Ed hears a girl scream and enters the basement. As Lorraine approaches, the door slams in her face. Ed! Mr. Knott and Lorraine try breaking the door down. Lorraine, Ed, wait right here. Ed, I can't. I'm going on ahead. Lorraine, no, Ed, stop. You can't fight this alone. She needs our help. Wait for me, please. The premonition. Valak. Lorraine says, I can't lose you. I'm so scared. Ed says, I know, me too. I have to help her. But what about my vision? I know I made a promise to you, but I have to do this. Ed, don't know. Ed wades through the water. He hears Janet screaming. He sees an opening of rotted floor and grabs an object to destroy the base. Pound, 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 pound. It pans to Mr. Nottingham, grabbing an axe. He is now racing back to Lorraine. Ed breaks through the flooring, and he is now in the crosses room. As Ed breaks into the room, like being born, he gets to an upright position, and the valve starts to turn. The knob explodes, and Ed's face is burned by the gas. Ed screaming. Lorraine and Mr. Knott axe down the door. Ed can't see very well and is locked in the crosses room. Glory to the newborn King. More chorus and hymnal sing. Glory to the newborn King. Elvis, baby.
Way to throw Elvis back in there.
Ed makes his way to the kitchen. As he enters, Valak's hand grips the door sidings like the frame from earlier. Long-ass gray fingers. The music stops abruptly. POV Ed searches for clarity. You hear the groaning. He finds light. And following, he is now followed by the Crooked Man. The Crooked Matt, my favorite.
Yes.
It cuts to Joy to the World. Now the TV's playing. The choir's singing. Ed approaches like Frankenstein. Janet screams from all directions. Ed's lost in peril. Slathered in sweat, Ed releases his crucifix and Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Oh, yeah. Ed releases his crucifix, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The area he is now faced with Latin exterior. Mr. Knott hacks his way and at the door, and Lorraine wanders off to grasp humanity. What? Fuck. What am I doing? What am I doing? What the fuck? Why am I here?
Why are we all
Why
here?
are we here? I don't want to do this anymore.
What? You don't want to do what anymore? Mr. Nottingham hacking away at the door as Lorraine wanders off to grasp humanity and grasp love. What's your name? What's your name? Lorraine screams. What is your name?
And
Staring
then,
into heaven, Lorraine peers at the camera. Now in the hallway of the home, Valak's at the end of the hallway. Lorraine, drenched in rain, dead-eye sets her eyes on the nun. I do know your name.
This is one of my favorite parts.
Oh, yeah. I asked you, you told me your name, and I wrote it down. Valak.
because she remembers she wrote it in the Bible.
Yep, the Bible.
When
Yep.
she
That's why I
was.
scratched it all up. Yeah,
Yes. She goes back to the premonition of her when she was
Yep.
seeing her
So cool.
the nun in the house.
In the house with her daughter.
Yep. And it's just like she's flipping through and she finds it.
Oh yeah, that's right. So she runs to where the family is hiding in the car. I need my Bible. Shuffling through the car trunk. The demon's name. It powers over it. The home is struck by lightning. A tree falls. TV turns off. Lorraine sees the 45-degree spike on the stoop. So the ice spike that I've been saying is the actual tree out in front of the house. Mm-hmm. Ed on the stairs hears footsteps calling for Janet at the TP. The Zootrope pops on. And there's the Crooked Man. Ugh. He walked a crooked mile. He found the crooked sixpence. Had the crooked style. He bought the crooked cat, the crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little wall. The Zootrope is blank. Mm-hmm. So as Ed's face is in the TP, Ed's full face, I call him the birthday boy, just being bornded, Crooked Man with the green teeth. Mm-hmm. Growling, the Crooked Man stands in the teepee, follows Ed's eyes, blasts through the left wall, and screams like a bloody vein spawns like a blood vein through a hallway and doorways. As Ed approaches the bedroom, the Crooked Man thwarts his parasol through the door, almost hitting Ed. Lorraine gets through to the basement. Now Janet, in clear view, is staring out of the window. Ed walks into the crucified room, and there's Janet staring out of the window. Mm-hmm. Janet! Janet thrusts her arms up like a maestro, and boom! The window shatters in a million pieces in her direction. Such a cool shot.
It really was.
Her face is all cut up. She steps on a stool to take her to the open window. Steps on the stoop, looks down. There's the ice spike, like I like to say. The tree. It's like a flipping humongous nail coming out of the ground.
It really does.
It really does. Janet jumps as Ed barely saves her. Ed is barely hanging on by the curtain. Lorraine, Ed! The curtain tears a bit. Lorraine enters as Ed is barely hanging on, still with Janet in his arms. Boom, there's Valak. Standing beside an upside-down cross, green eyes and all, Ed screams, Lorraine! Staring at Valak, Lorraine peers back at Ed and then races towards him. Thunder and heavy rain make the scene incredible. Mm-hmm. As she races towards Ed, Valak screams an angry roar and Lorraine goes flying up against the wall and hangs there. Literally just hanging up against the wall. Down to a few last rings holding the curtain on the rod, the two holding on for dear life. Ed almost drops her. Lorraine screams, Ed! Valak turns to Lorraine. Best part. Lorraine says, your name gives me dominion over you, demon, and I do know your name. Valak roars as the crucifixes all fall off the wall. Mm-hmm. You're Valak. Well, I don't know where that came from. You're Valak, the defier, the profane, the marquis of snakes. Valak roars in pain. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I condemn you back to hell. Valak's face opens up like a hornet's nest, shedding teeth, and I don't know why I said that, but it does. It does. Shedding teeth and gums, and turns into a black gaseous smoke-like entity. As Lorraine is still hovering up the wall, she shrieks in pain, and Valak disappears. She falls from the wall on the last ring of the curtain and almost plunges with Janet to his death. Is saved by Lorraine. She grabs his arm last second, and as they all ask if everything is okay, Mom enters, and they're all saved. All right, Janet, deep breath. Take a deep breath. Crying in each other's arms, we fade to the next scene. Sitting on the back of an ambulance, Ed and Lorraine look at each other. They look out at all the Hutchinson kids. But Billy's playing with Baron, the doggy. Janet's getting a look over by the EMT. Lorraine looks at Ed and says, you saved her. Ed says, no, you saved us. Didn't I tell you it was meant to be? And they both chuckle. Lorraine says, but you believed in me. I couldn't have done it without you.
They're so in love.
So in love. Mom says, thanks for coming back for us. Janet gives Ed the biggest hug. And now you see Janet, and she's that little girl.
Yeah.
She's not the little gray, It's wild. She just looks like a little 12-year-old girl. Ed says, here, sit down. He takes off his crucifix. You know, this has kept me safe since I was a kid. I want you to have it. He hands Janet the crucifix. And when you grow up, find someone who needs it and give it to them. Deal? As she clenches the cross really tight in her hand, she looks up and says, I'm so lucky. She looks at Lorraine. You said one person can change everything, but I've got two. Lorraine looks back at the house. As the film comes to an end, the writing says the haunting of Enfield would go on to become one of the most documented cases in paranormal history. That's what we're doing here. Peggy Hodgson would continue to live out the rest of her days in the Green Street house. In 2003, she passed away quietly while sitting in a chair in the living room.
I was
in
born
the
in 03.
exact spot Bill Wilkins died 40 years earlier.
That's crazy. I need that chair.
Yes, you have to have that chair.
I need
so
that
in 40
chair.
years, you can dye your hair.
You can die.
I was born in 03 too, like the year she died.
So you might be Peggy.
I'm her reincarnated.
Pegla.
Pegla.
You're for Beth.
Maybe you're born in 03?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
I was on my third divorce.
The age difference of this friendship is so funny.
Nope, cut it out. Cut it out.
Cut it out.
Editor. Eddie.
Cut.
Stop moving.
He's our manager.
He's the editor. He's like, get me the fuck out of this goddamn cage. It's hot as fucking here. The camera pans around the room, and it's going through the room as we're reading this on the situation, and as it gets to the part where it says, in the exact spot Bill Wilkins died 40 years earlier, it shows the chair. And lastly, before credits roll, we're now in the occult room with Ed. He pulls out a wrapped situation in luggage that has JFK on it, so he just flew from England to JFK Airport in New York, and now they're home in their little situation. What he pulls out of his luggage is the Zootrope. He places it in its new living spot. He hears something coming from another room. It's Lorraine playing the Elvis album. They dance.
No.
Oh, do I have to say it? Okay, I'll say it. Take my hand. They dance next to the Christmas tree by the fire. For I can't help falling in love with you. And it fades to black. And that is The Conjuring 2, ladies and gentlemen. Yee! We're finished! And that's 2 claps, bitch. That was awesome. That was so good.
Yeah.
That was so good. I love that movie so much that I give it 10 3/4 hamburgers. I know we can't do
And
that.
3/4.
10 3/4.
What is the 3/4?
You got the bum, you got the chili, you got the slaw, you got the mayonnaise, you got the tomato, you got the hotter than hell sauce. You got mayonnaise, you got cheese, you got meat, you got mayonnaise, you got cheese, you got meat, slaw, chili, and a bum.
So I've detected 2 chilies.
2 chilies.
2 mayos.
3 mayos.
3 mayos.
2 cheese.
2 cheese.
2 cheese. 1 meat.
1
2
meat.
meat. 2 meat.
2 meat.
And a bum.
And a bun.
We used to do this.
You don't want to put like a pickle on there?
No pickles. No, you get a toothpick with a flag on it. And you're supposed to say, what flag? And I was like, all of them. All of them. 10.
I like how you just did the bit instead of actually trying to do the bit. You just said my part too.
All of them.
I don't even have to prepare. You can
You
just
don't-
do.
I got
you could
AI.
you could.
I don't know. I'm screaming. Now, are we going to do this podcast or not?
Are we?
Yeah, that's good. That was good. What do you give it?
I'll give it 10 hamburgers
You like
as well,
that?
for sure. Yeah.
What's the difference between, I said 10 3/4 burgers.
Yeah, what
But I've got
makes-
3 pieces of cheese on this bitch. 2 pieces of cheese. Anyway, anywho.
You got so many. You got a lot
This is what
of.
we used to do. I would be on top of the bed, and Ethan would be laying down, and I would throw like a pillow on him. And I was like, "You're the bum. Here's the meat, and here's the cheese, and I'll be the other bum." But it would be the opposite. I would be, laying on the floor.
Yeah.
I'd be the bum. The bum.
The bum.
And he would throw all these pillows, cheese, pickle, ketchup, mustard, and then I'm the bum, and he would
like squirrel.
squirrel out and just like land on top of me and crack my ribs. Yeah, it was fun back in the day. That was like 8 weeks ago. So yes, so you have a paranormal. I think it's Creepy Connie's Corner.
It's Creepy Connie Corner. Creepy Connie Corner.
I do.
I do believe it's Creepy Connie's Corner.
It is. And I do have a paranormal. Well, I don't know if it is paranormal. I'm back in my haunted studio space, right?
We have to go. We
Yeah.
have to go there with the equipment.
Yeah. And I'm in the upstairs bathroom, the women's bathroom. And I walk in and I walk past the paper towel thing. And as I'm like closing the door to the stall, it like starts going.
So
like
it's actual paper-
it's
like
like most
paper-
like
okay,
it has like
motion
one of
sensor,
like
okay.
the ones where you can wave in front of it and it'll bring out the paper towel. But like it just did it. And nobody else was in there. Like I was by myself. And as I was washing my hands, I took that paper towel and dried my hands off.
You showed them.
Yeah. And as I'm closing the door, it goes off again. So, like, I don't know if it's just a delayed, like, the sensor's just broken a little bit and it's delayed, but, like, I never went. It's hard to explain. So, like, the way that the sensor is facing, I would have to, like, purposely get in front of
Right.
it. Like,
So half
it's
the times
not.
these things don't work, let alone
it's
do it by
not
itself.
like it's not facing where I'm like the path is for me to walk out of the bathroom. It is facing like another wall. It's like in a little alcove on its own.
Wow.
And so like I don't know. It was just weird.
That's weird.
But what I really want to talk about is a documentary I stumbled upon, and I don't know how I didn't hear about this as it was happening, because it happened in 2023. And it is called The Garden, Commune, or Cult.
Ooh.
And so it's on HBO, and the description says The Garden is an unprecedented survival series following a mysterious off-grid community that went viral on TikTok for being called a cult.
And that's on now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, so that was this came out in 2023.
Oh, you did say that. My
Yeah.
goodness.
So
How did you happen upon it?
I was just scrolling through HBO trying to find something to watch while I was doing homework, and I found this, and there was 8 episodes
Wow.
that are each like 42 minutes long,
And
or
it's
6 episodes that are 42 minutes long. And so I binged it. I watched
Oh,
this in
wow.
I watched this in a day while doing homework.
Jeez. Are you the type? I mean, when I get into something, I get into something.
Yes, but like especially with like docuseries, especially true crime
Yes.
ones, and yeah, I usually get hooked and I'm diving into
I love that.
it.
I love that.
And so I don't want to give too much away because when you watch it, it's so much better. But it basically, they went viral on TikTok. So a bunch of people kind of who are, like one of the guys calls himself a prepper because he's prepping for the apocalypse.
Yeah.
He's prepping for when society fails and we all have to like live in bunkers and nobody
Canned goods.
Yeah. It's like living in the Walking Dead type thing without the zombies.
It's crazy. Or the humans or the zombies or the people that didn't prep.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous. I mean, I believe in all that. I mean, I should
Yeah.
prep because what if, then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, that guy's going to have all the guns and all the canned goods and he's going to live.
Yeah.
But do you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That sounds really cool.
It is really cool. So basically, he is like, I kind of want to see if I can join this off-grid community. But with all of the rumors of them and accusations of them being a cult, he was kind of like, I don't know. So it's kind of also a documentary of a bunch of different people and types of people that want to see if they actually want to join this community. And kind of other part of that, the real thing is seeing if it is a cult or not. Wow. And one of the things that I will give away is the guy that is their quote unquote leader, but there isn't a leader because they all decide in like group. They have to like unanimously say, yes, we're going to do this. But he's the leader. He started it. He grew up in the Rainbow Garden or something like that. And like that's where he was born into.
Wow.
And so he always was living off grid and doing that kind of stuff. But he's like, no, this isn't like a cult. There are some things where I'm like, no, this is culty.
Yeah.
This is really not good. And there's a pattern that you eventually see as you end the documentary.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've got your I mean, you've got your answer, or does it unveil it, or are you still left with questions?
I have questions still.
You ever
I
been
have
in a cult?
What?
You ever been in a cult?
Does the Catholic Church count?
Yes, of course. That is the cult. The cult of personality. I've been in a cult.
You have?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have not. I kind of want to join one to see if I could
Start one.
Well, I think I would be a great cult leader.
Oh, so that's it. So we've got two alphas in the house.
Too. I am the main character.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. CC
Just
becomes
kidding.
before KJ. I'd join your cult.
No, see, I really kind of want to join one, but like as an experiment to see if I could survive the mental manipulation.
Ooh. That's the thing. I like to say it was a cult. It was a product line that I worked for that I was obsessed with.
Oh.
It rhymes with a and I dove so far deep in their education program that I kind of lost myself. I mean, anything and everything.
Was it like pyramid scheming?
I mean, they're still a top billet, but I worked with some of the greatest hairstylists. I got some great stories, great stories. I literally held petroleum jelly for a British, not giving names, a British superstar hairstylist. Had this young 18-year-old girl, 17-year-old girl in Atlanta sign a waiver that he could do whatever. And she was cool with it.
Oh, shit.
He cut her hair with a creme brulee lighter, like a flame torch. Yep.
You're telling me he set fire to this
Oh,
poor
yeah.
woman's
Lit
hair?
her hair on fire. It was amazing. And it looked great. Singe the ends, and you kind of do this. So I held the petroleum jelly. My idol in this show, Canadian beast of a hairstylist, was his assistant. That guy was British that lit the girl's hair on fire, and they sued They sued, even with the affidavit that she signed, even with the disclaimer saying, I can do whatever. She was embarrassed. She was on the big screen, and you could tell she was not happy, and the parents weren't happy either, but it was so cool. It was so cool. But every restroom I went into, I had a stamp in my pocket. Every school that I ventured out, every city that I went to help teach and help facilitate these classes, I lived, breathed, ate their organic products.
Everything.
Yeah, I was obsessed. I wanted to be. I mean, I've killed Miami, New Orleans, Chicago, New York. I mean, just ate the East Coast alive.
Yeah.
I was that big. And, I'm going to scramble the words up because I don't want to get in trouble. Okay. But
yeah.
I was heartbroken because when I was going to be reimbursed $14,000 and start to get paid and have a per diem. I get to have a per diem. That's all I wanted. I wanted to be able to have like a card that I could just buy 20 magazines and lollipops. I wanted to be that rock star, and I was able to be assistant to that assistant of that rock star for a little bit. But then the product line that the salon I worked for, they didn't use a video color, and because their color line wasn't that great for gray hair coverage, and they said, sorry, until your salon gets rid of that color line, you can't be a part of this team. So I'm like, you used me to get this salon to rid of their color line. And they're like, we didn't use you. I'm like, you used me. It's crazy. In front of the panel, I said this. Your products say you don't test on animals, but you tested this fucking human, and I'm burning this goddamn bridge today. I'm burning this bridge. And they're like, thank you. And it was talked about for a little bit, but I was in a cult. I mean, I fucking lived, breathed. I missed out on a lot at home because when I was home, I wasn't present because I was facilitating, getting things ready for the class, teaching 1 or 2 nights here, 1 or 2 days like at the school, and then working at the salon, and then traveling on the weekends, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I was exhausted, but yeah, that's that. So I got a crazy story for you. I started DJing in California, and when I came back early on, right in the 2000s, my music that I DJ'd is now popular. Bassy, drum and bass, jungle, tech step. That was the kind of music that I spun back in 2000 or 2002, 3, 4, 5. And I started producing in 2004. My own stuff. I've got a few albums on Spotify. Jeremiah Rukia, you can check it out. Or Batshit. The I is a exclamation point. It's dark electro. So when I had an opportunity to spend at a Halloween party at CLEMSON, it was so cool. It was at a frat house. I was on the balcony upstairs, so it was like those colonial situations, and it was Halloween Eve. It was a Saturday night. It was the 31st, not the 30th or the 1st. Like, it was Halloween, so I'm playing my music. I'm dressed as I usually dress, kind of like the crooked man with a top hat and long tails and the coat, and I had like an umbrella that I carried, and I was DJing, and across the way was an abandoned house that was an old jail. It was an old jail. So I started playing right at dusk, and I ended my set at like 2 a.m. And old jailhouse back in the late 1800s just housed drunken, barbarians, just people. Train tracks came by through there, so not too far, and the jailhouse just housed people. They weren't like predators. They weren't murderers. It wasn't a holding cell. It was just like a drunk tank, basically, is what I researched. And then after it burned, and there was probably a dozen people that perished in that jail, and the jail was closed forever. And now it was just like an old abandoned house. So as I'm DJing, I've had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
On the balcony, some kid had gone in, broken into the situation, the dilapidated house, and they were dancing. They were dancing to the music, and I, most people, the music's really progressive, kind of aggressive, and I was mixing some Marilyn Manson in and some Orgy and a lot of other dark, White Zombie and whatnot. Just it was a Halloween mood, it was a Halloween mode, and I was like, this is really funny. I got my camera and I'm filming this guy, and he's dancing his ass off. I stayed at a hotel, like a little motel not too far from the University of Clemson, and the next day I told the person that curated the whole thing, they were kind of head of the South Carolina Arts Department, and I said, you got to see this crazy fool. So I brought my camera out, and there was no one. It was just me filming people in the streets, people that whatever I filmed wasn't on my camera, and it wasn't my phone. It was an actual DSLR, and I was like, this is really odd. Because I know I filmed the guy was dancing his ass off. And then the lady said there's no way that place has been locked for years, like 20-something years, and there's no way anyone could get up on the balcony because the balcony would probably fall through. They said that about me where I was, and I had all this music equipment. I mean, all this gear was set out on this like at the colonial home, like it's an old plantation house. So the balcony was
it's a frat house.
It was very, very not secure,
Yeah.
like very fragile. And they're like, there's no way that there was somebody in there because there's no way to get up there. And I said, you got to be shitting me, because I saw this guy. He was dancing his ass off. And when I was going through my pictures, I never found that footage. And I know I filmed him for a good 4 or 5 minutes just because it was so funny, because he was dancing awkwardly like he was on something.
Yeah.
And he was in a house that
He was an old drunk spirit.
He was an old drunk spirit. So I thought that was really cool. And it was one I wanted to share, but I wanted to get closer to spooky season, because that whole situation was so cool, because that was the first time that I was able to play my music, and I got paid really well for it, but they never invited me back. And that is it. So yes, we give 2 claps and 10 in free cool to hamburgers with all the juiciness. And yours has a fried egg?
Oh yeah.
You had a fried egg on
Fried
your ones?
egg,
Did
for
you even
sure.
do? Did you even do your? Oh, your bacon,
Bacon, fried egg, all of the.
No napkins.
No
My
napkins.
sleeve is the napkin. Well, thank you guys so much. You're amazing. Still working on that
Yes,
Patreon.
Thank you.
Yes. Connect with us. Email us, revivalhorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revival
yeah.
Horror Podcast.
We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are on TikTok. We have it all. We have one last thing to do, and this is going to be cool. We get to scratch the horror movie off. I'm so excited for
Yes,
this.
let's
So
do
yeah.
it.
So thank you guys so much. We love you. We love you, creepies.
Yes,
Keep it
thank-
spooky, because it's spooky season, and we will see you next time. This is Creepy Connie.
And this is King Jeremy, the Wicked.
Yeah, goodbye. Woo.
Good shit.
You've been listening to Revival, a horror podcast, starring King Jeremy the Wicked and Creepy Connie. Goodbye.